Alright, everyone. As you guys know, right-wing grifters online have made a sort of practice out of finding a popular, beloved piece of media, looking to see if there is discontent within the fan base of that piece of media, seeing essentially if it looks like it might be a sinking ship, you know, and then trying their best to clickbait off of the anger around that particular piece of media and funnel that towards a political cause. They've been doing this for quite some time, but a really notable example is related to the thing we're talking about now, and that's the new Star Wars movies. I thought that The Force Awakens was solid, was very disappointed to find out that Finn was not going to be the main character, because I just thought his story was more compelling, especially based on how he was presented in the trailers. And by the third movie, I enjoyed them as a spectacle, but I certainly don't really have, like, a special place in my heart for them, right? And I think a lot of people agree, right? A lot of young, like, these new Star Wars movies are probably going to have the same impact as the prequel trilogy did, where we don't really like them much, but there are tons of kids who are going to get into Star Wars, and it's going to be their favorite, right? I mean, it's already been a thing, right? Like, tons of kids since the start of the new trilogy have loved that new trilogy. And so, despite that, the nostalgic crowd of classic Star Wars fans, they've definitely been generally discontent with the new Star Wars movies. Not because of anything overtly political or politically motivated, but because there are a number of valid criticisms that a long-term Star Wars fan might have of these movies. Sensing this discontent, years ago, a hate brigade started against the Disney era of Star Wars. It ties in well with quite a few other culture war issues that the right cares about as well, so that helps too. And ever since then, the right has made a habit of repeating the same pattern. Oh yeah, Rogue One went hard as fuck. It's the best Star Wars movie, hands down. Anyway, yeah, don't get me wrong, there is some absolute top-tier media that has come out of Star Wars recently. Obviously, some Star Wars games have been pretty top-tier, like the Jedi games, Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order. Andor was really good. Rogue One, top-tier. Solo was surprisingly good. Kenobi, I thought, was pretty solid. I really liked the grittiness of it, though it really kind of pushes the timeline. They should have made him look a bit like middle area of age between Alec Guinness and Greg, I can't forget the young Obi-Wan's actor's name. It's blanking on me right now. Hello there. General Kenobi! I'm sorry. Ewan McGregor, thank you. I was close. It was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, I feel like they should have had Ewan McGregor look like... They should have made him look more like Alec Guinness and just try to get that, like, midpoint there, you know what I mean? Because he ages a lot in that time, you know? We're getting Star Wars stun-locked. That's not what this is about. Anyway, the newest Star Wars show that is a part of this right-wing sinking ship spotting method is the new Star Wars show, The Acolyte. Here's the thing about The Acolyte, though. Apparently, mind you, I haven't seen it. I have no bias one way or the other here. Apparently, The Acolyte is quite liked by, like, your general Star Wars fans. There isn't this pre-existing discontent with Star Wars when it comes to this project that they can build a hate brigade off of. They tried the same thing with Andor as well, and it failed for them then as well. And it's all repeating again with this Acolyte show. Supposedly, the Acolyte show is pretty solid. People seem to be liking it. Apparently, it's got one or two, like, minor issues, I'm sure, but, like, I haven't seen it. It is what it is, right? But that's not the point of this. The point of this is that the right is actually getting called out by some pretty large outlets for their tricks that they've been pulling on these new pieces of media to enrich themselves, I guess, over the last few years. This is a Forbes article, and the title goes as follows: Professional Acolyte Haters Fall for Fake Rotten Tomatoes Controversy. It's very depressing to see an entire industry created to hate on various pieces of supposedly woke media, but we have not seen anything like the manufactured outrage devoted to The Acolyte, Disney Plus's new Star Wars series set long before the most well-known era. Now, those making their online existence about hating The Acolyte have leapt on an absolutely non-existent controversy. Spread by a number of higher-profile Twitter accounts, including the 2.6 million follower having End Wokeness account, there was an idea passed around that Rotten Tomatoes had hidden or erased the 25,000 user scores that had bombed the Acolyte down to a 14% rating, lower than any Star Wars product in history, including the infamous holiday special. This, of course, did not happen. Shortly after this made the rounds, the score was back, and the worst thing that happened here was a brief technical glitch, the kind which happens frequently on Rotten Tomatoes, especially with these score listings. But those eager to find any possible fault with the show or defense of it leapt on the screenshots. I counted at least a dozen YouTube videos made about the score deletion in the hours after these posts started to be spread, many of which racked up tens of thousands of views from accounts with hundreds of thousands of followers. I've seen people then say, well, how do you know they didn't just delete it and put it back? Because A, why would they delete something for like an hour? It's not even clear how many people actually saw this, or if they were just sharing the same screenshot. And B, I use Rotten Tomatoes every day for work. I'm also a critic here, and the site is not well designed. I have trouble even loading the damn thing on Chrome half the time, and I've experienced countless issues of scores changing when you click through from one page to another, or sometimes, yes, disappearing completely. The site often feels like it's held together with duct tape, and technical issues are common. It is deeply depressing to search The Acolyte on YouTube, and a countless parade of angry thumbnails, often just flat out lying. Quote, woke actress loses it after getting fired by Disney. Amandla Sternberg has not been fired by Disney. Or hyperbolic to off-the-charts levels, this is how Star Wars dies with thunderous cringe. This video has 1.4 million views. It's an entire industry, and people are making bank on it. Hence why there are dozens of videos made about it every single day. As for Rotten Tomatoes, I've noted previously that in just a few weeks, The Acolyte has more user scores in to create this 14% than a combination of any seasons of any past Star Wars show. So this is a particularly unique example of hate on Star Wars / Marvel / whatever media. The complaints besides being about being woke are often about bad writing, quote unquote, which is often just a cover for it being too woke, or allegedly changing something from canon that on closer examination is not canon at all, or changing canon at all, which has happened a few times now. All this for a show that's okay at worst, interesting at best, now that Khmer has entered the picture as a rather fascinating Sith who produced one of the best lightsaber fights in the series' history. And of course, you cannot like it, but the fervor this has created is absolutely absurd. This is literally my position on Rings of Power, by the way. As are the attacks against anyone who pushes back against it. Can't wait to see the replies when I tweet this. Sigh. The Acolyte airs tonight. Expect 200 videos about how bad it was tomorrow. And sure enough, it was. The comments, of course, are exactly what you expect. It's clear this writer has an agenda instead of facts. Nielsen ratings support The Acolyte. Acolyte has extremely poor viewership. This is just objectively not true. Also, Nielsen ratings don't have the viewership ratings for a streaming service show. I really do love how the first and most top-liked comment is lying about Nielsen polls, or Nielsen ratings, having the viewership numbers for Disney's live-streamed shows. I don't think we ever get to know the viewership for a live-streamed show, right? Like, we don't even know how many, like, we just have to, like, guess, basically, based on what the company tells us. How about an article on the paid shills? That's what I kept getting called when I said I liked Rings of Power, by the way. They kept accusing me of being a paid shill for the Rings of Power because I liked it. It's interesting. It's interesting that they don't seem to be capable of acknowledging that someone could have a media preference different from theirs. Like, assuming they just have a media preference and that's all it is, that's too much for them. That's too much, apparently. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, guys, I feel like that's really where things wrap up here. The right is kind of... I want to talk about this sinking ship method that they've been engaging in. That's been the overall reason I want to do this segment. You'll notice they've been doing it with other pieces of media as well. Notably, like Warhammer is a big one right now. A big focus of their attacks is Warhammer. And you'll know, if you're part of the Warhammer community, you might know that there's actually a lot of strife within the community of Warhammer right now. Like, they have made some questionable decisions. Particularly the company that, like, owns the rights to Warhammer has made some pretty questionable decisions. Their pricing is awful. There's a lot of reasons why fans of Warhammer are pissed at, like, what is it, Games Workshop, I think it is. There's a reason for valid anger, but that existence of that anger is what is weaponized by these clickbaiting grifters into turning that into a political thing. No one likes Games Workshop? Exactly. Exactly. No one likes Games Workshop. No one likes Disney. So make it seem like they are the figureheads of the woke, and everyone will hate the woke. Call anything you don't like woke, and anyone you don't like woke, and you've done... There you go. That's literally... I boiled it down to its bare essentials. There you go. No, you're completely right, Ride the Rails. Like I said... No. Guys, what you're... Games Workshop is not bad because it's woke. Games Workshop is bad for all the reasons you guys are listing it being bad for. People, normies, who are mad about those things... are mad about at Games Workshop. They might even go out of their way to look up videos shitting on Games Workshop. What will come up when they look up videos shitting on Games Workshop, shitting on Disney? Like, even if they're not looking up videos specifically criticizing the woke stuff, they're looking for videos just criticizing the company for their poor practices. What comes up? What will they find? What will flood the results for pages and pages? What happens when they watch one of those videos once? That's my point. That is how the pipeline works now. That is how they bring in vast swaths of new people. Acolyte has good fights, but the plot is a mess? Maybe. Anyway, I know this is a shorter segment, mostly silly, but if you enjoyed anything I had to say in it, consider dropping a like. It really does help a lot. Every single thumbs up goes a long way to boost my channel in the algorithm and push me out to more people, so I really do appreciate it. And of course, if you want to support me through other means, you can follow my social medias, subscribe, comment down below, subscribe, ring the bell icon, join my fan Discord, which is a free hub of my fan base. I announce all my new uploads and streams there, and I host events there too. So if you don't want to miss those, make sure you join. Finally, if you want to support me directly financially and you can afford it, I really do appreciate it if you do. You can always donate, subscribe, or gift a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buying merch to the Streamlabs link down below. But regardless, even if you're just chilling, I really do appreciate your support. You guys are awesome, and have a good one.